All right, coach, coming off this weekend split versus Ohio State, turning attention to another ranked opponent. Hockey East play underway with Boston University, home and home series. Just want to get your thoughts heading into the weekend series. First game Friday night at BU.
Yeah, I thought we had a hard-fought weekend against Ohio State. Either game could have probably gone either way. Uh, they're a very good team, and now we've got another good team. We got to play this weekend. I watched their series versus Michigan State, and BU's very deep, especially up front. They have, I think, 17 draft picks on their team, so they're very, very talented. Starts with Igorov and net. I think he's an excellent goaltender, and Hudson and Boumediene and McCarthy on defense are all excellent players, and they've added some. Eiserman up front was a really good player, but they've added that Ryder Ritchie and McLaughlin, and I'm not sure if Boisvert. I mean, I know he got hurt. I don't know if he's going to play, but they're a team that can cause you a lot of fits, especially if you're not sound defensively. Like if we're not sound defensively and we let them, get up and down the ice and we make it a track meet, it's going to be a tough game for us to win, I think. So we're going to have to be really diligent with the puck, especially through the neutral zone and in our own zone too. We've got to make sure that we're not compromising, our defensive structure for offense.
All right, Joe, you want to start us off?
Thanks. Good morning, Cav. How are you?
I'm great, Joe. You?
I'm good, thanks. What'd you think of Brendan Dunphy first time in a regular six shift on defense?
Well, it wasn't his first game. He's played, he played out at Colorado College. So I thought he had played pretty well out there. And then, I thought he gave us a great effort both nights against Ohio State as well. He's long, he skates well, and I think he's a really good defender and an excellent penalty killer.
When you went back and looked at the tape, obviously the Jakes, Richard and Percival had some grade A opportunities. When the puck doesn't go in, does it get to the point where you're maybe gripping the stick a little too tight?
It might, but I think they're both experienced veteran players. They know that it won't last. The most important thing is that you're getting chances. If you're not getting chances, then there's some issues. So I think both of them are going to be fine. The puck will go in for them as long as they keep getting those grade A opportunities.
Thanks.
And go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, Cav, I apologize because I'm sure you've probably answered these questions before, but just, last year you reached the NCAA tournament, you win a game, and you even, you come so close to reaching the Frozen Four. I guess what was the feeling this year, either within the program or when you're lining up against opponents? Does it feel any different this year?
I don't think it feels any different. I just think now that we have expectations of getting back to that position. So sometimes those can be a burden, and other times they can be helpful. Like when your expectations, when we first got in the league, we didn't have those types of expectations. I had expectations to try to get there, but I don't think the players had realistic expectations to be competing for a Frozen Four. But when you do have those expectations, Andrew, it drives you. Mm-hmm. There's a little more urgency in your game. There's, when we go into a game like we're playing against BU, and as I said, they have 17 draft picks that might have intimidated previous teams going into that game. I don't think it intimidates this team because they had 15 or 16 last year too when we played against them. So I think those experiences that we had last year throughout the playoffs only help build your brand and build your team's confidence that you can compete at this level and expect to win at this level.
Daniel, go ahead.
Since you're playing his brother this weekend, Mike Murtagh got his first career goal this past weekend. What have you seen from him this season, and how has he improved from his freshman year?
I just think he's a kid that I really liked him last year. I thought he was, he was a good player last year. It was just that we were pretty deep, and he was probably our 13th forward in a lot of situations. So it was hard getting him on the ice in different areas, but he never stopped working. He competes on the puck. He skates. He shoots the puck really well. So there's a lot of things I like about his game, and I think he's going to become a really valuable player for us. And at some point, I'm hoping that we can get him into some special teams work as well. I think he has the skill set to be a penalty killer for us, without a doubt, at some point.
Go ahead, Randy.
Thanks, Colin. Morning, Cav.
Good morning, Randy.
Love that you mentioned the penalty kill. That's what I want to ask about. It was so aggressive. You really made it like a part of the penalty kill's identity, the aggressiveness. Does that carry over into this year? Is it the same kind of approach, structure, or are there any adjustments needed with so many returners?
I think that, we're certainly an aggressive penalty kill. BU's a very aggressive penalty kill. There's going to be times where we can't be aggressive. They have some players that if you get too aggressive on them, they'll expose you. So I think the key is making sure that we're all in sync, knowing if we're going to be aggressive, all four have to be going aggressive. If we only have two going aggressive and two are kind of sitting back, that's how lanes open up and seams open up and where you can be vulnerable. So I've always preferred to be a type of kill that, make the other team make 3 or 4 really good plays to beat you, instead of sitting back and letting them tee off and maybe it goes off a shin pad right to a guy's stick. I'd rather have us go make them make plays to beat us.
And I want to follow up. You had mentioned not compromising defensive structure to generate offense, but you do have defensemen that have been very active offensively once the puck gets down the ice. How does the defenseman best balance that?
Well, I don't think it's just the sole responsibility of the defenseman to compromise defensive structure. A lot of times it's the forwards. Because I want our defensemen to jump into the play. And if there's an opportunity where we can have a defenseman jump into a play and make it a 4-on-3, that's great. It's just then when you have that opportunity, don't miss the net wide because that goes ringing around. It's going to send you 2-on-1 the other way. But it's more, a lot of times it's more on the forwards that you don't want to get 3 caught low or 3. Your third forward, sometimes we call it dive bombing. You just all or nothing type forecheck when you already have 2 forwards down below the goal line. And then you lose that guy, and that's what creates 3-on-2s going the other way.
And finally, for me, I suppose we could say this every weekend, but getting traffic in front of the net, especially with a guy that stands as tall as Yegorov. How important are the net front battles in I guess both zones, but especially in the offensive zone as you try to solve a really great goalie?
Well, regardless of a goaltender's size, I think you have to get traffic in front of the net. That's the best way to score goals. When you can take the goalie's eyes away, that's the best way to score goals. We have to have multiple shot shifts. You have to be able to get to the dirty areas for rebounds. You very rarely, I don't care what goalie we're playing against in Hockey East, you're very rarely going to beat those goalies clean. So you got to find ways to manufacture goals. And the majority of the time you manufacture goals is by taking away the goalie's eyes or getting rebounds or deflections.
Thank you.
Sure.
Joe, go ahead.
Cav, with all the new players, are they stylistically the same as last year, or have they switched things up a little bit?
What do you mean by that?
Well, BU, I mean, do they?
I thought, okay, BU's team.
I'm sorry.
I don't think they've switched up much. I think that, they've always been a very talented team offensively. They're a team that has always been excellent in transition. They get a lot of offense from their back end. I know McCarthy scored a goal the other night to get them going in that Saturday night game, and then the tying goal came off of a shot from Boumediene. So their defense creates a lot of offense for them as well. So I think, their defensive zone coverage seems like it's very similar to what they played last year. So I don't envision seeing a much different style of hockey from them this weekend than we played against last year. And they probably won't see much of a difference in the way we play either.
Dan, go ahead.
On the coaches show, I think you mentioned that your on the rush defense has allowed a few goals this season. Is that a product of losing your defensive structure, or what's that issue been?
I think it's like what I referenced earlier. It's sometimes our forwards, and it's not always a forward. Sometimes it's a defenseman pinching at the wrong time, when he doesn't have coverage. Like sometimes it's on, there's always, you have to work in tandem, the forwards and the D. And I want our defensemen to pinch, but they can only pinch when there's coverage, when they have a forward back. So in a lot of that, Dan, is just, it's early in the season, and you got some new players, and we have to get back to getting in sync. It's kind of like my golf game when I start playing in May. I forget how to hit that 60 flop shot. I always say that's a July shot, not a May shot. You just sometimes forget those little skills. But we will, and that's what practice is for, and that's what games are for, and repetitions. The more reps you get, the better you get at it.
My driver shot's a Disney shot because it's make-believe.
Yeah, well, go get some lessons.
And your golf reference totally threw me off on what I was going after.
So now it's my fault.
It probably wasn't important. It's fine.
All right.
Anything else, guys? Go ahead, Andrew.
I figured I'd just ask a few questions, and then maybe Daniel will remember what he wanted to ask.
Thank you. That's MVP work there.
Again, playing catch up, because I'm guessing you've already talked about this, but Muldowney, getting named to the Spangler Cup roster. Just what does that mean for your program, and what has he been like to coach? What are you seeing from him this year after the tremendous season he put up last year?
Yeah, well, I'm really proud of him, and I think it's a great honor that he got named to that team, and I think it's well deserved. He had 29 goals last year, but Andrew, I think the thing that we're most proud of here is our players. Like Hudson Chandor, when he came in here, he started on the fourth line, when he worked his way up to be a first line player. Joey Muldowney did the same thing. Like Joey Muldowney came in here, and I think he was on a line with Ryan Tattle and Tristan Frazier, I think, at one point, and we were playing them against the other team's top line because they were a great defensive line. He was more of a defensive player and a penalty killer, and then he works his way up the lineup, and he never ever sacrificed his 200-foot game to score goals. And that's the thing that I'm really I don't know if proud is the right word, but those are the things I like to see in our players, that I want to have 200-foot players. I just don't want to have one-trick ponies that just score goals. Now, if you have a guy, occasionally you're going to get a guy that they just can score, and scoring's the hardest thing to do in hockey. But Joey doesn't, I say, sacrifice defensive structure to score goals. He doesn't cheat the game to score goals. And I think that's his greatest attribute.
And I guess I would just follow up, going back to BU. Last year, you had a really entertaining game in Stores that BU pulled out. And then, of course, the win at the Garden in the Hockey East semifinals. I know there's a lot of, turnover in both rosters, but just, I guess, what are you expecting? Do you expect them to have a little bit of extra juice from that memory of losing in the Garden?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, they went to the championship game too. So I just think I remember after that game that we played here in Stores, both Jay and I both said that was one of the most exciting, entertaining hockey games. It was a great game because, neither one of us are going to trap. Neither one of us are going to sit back. We're going to attack. Both teams like to get after the puck and, create turnovers, and there'll be a lot of energy in the game. And that's what I'm envisioning, at Agganis and also here at Toscano. I think it's going to be that type of game. So they're fun games to play in, and I love playing against BU, and I'm sure they love playing against us because it's always an entertaining style of hockey, and very rarely do the fans get cheated in those games.
Thanks.
Sure.
All right, Dan, we'll end it with you.
Andrew's stall tactic worked. I remembered it. From yesterday at Big East Media Day, the women's basketball team was just kind of laughing at they finally can take a break during practice because they've got enough players after the last few years. So on the flip side, without Joe for the next little bit, does that impact how you practice at all, only having one extra forward outside your lines?
It does. And I don't know if I'm going to get myself in trouble, but I just don't think the roster limits of 26 is what's best for the student athletes. We're already down to yesterday we had 4 lines and 8D for practice, and you really have to manage the practice. You can't you got to be careful how you practice. You can't burn your guys out. It's hard when you're going every other shift. So to answer your question, yes, it does affect how you practice and how many reps you take. We're certainly keeping a close eye on that.